and just a couple of cuts the entire length of the workpiece. Here's a good place for me to show you how the skew chisel really cuts. Once again, we place the tool on the rest, put the bevel in contact with the work, and then lift the handle until we start engaging the cutting edge, creating a peeling cut, a nice clean shaving. You want to use the center third because if you allow the tool to slide down on the rest and engage this long point, it gets a catch. Now, let's get back to that double. Once we have it all cylindrical, we're going to come in and make a mark here for a bead about 1 inch wide. Another one here. We're going to measure the width of our hand for the handle. We're going to make 2 more marks for another bead. We're going to make V-cuts, or half V's, peeling very lightly about the thickness of a sheet of paper to give us some room to work. We want to keep the bevel parallel to the surface that we're cutting. This is an arcing motion, starting with the point high and lifting the handle and pushing it in. Then we're going to make a peeling cut just to get rid of some of this waste. I'm going to do the same thing down here. You're better off making a lot of light cuts rather than wedging the tool in between the cuts. We'll continue to make V-cuts, or half V's, on this side of the bead. And all we're going to do is give us some room to work in. We can come back and clean that up later. Now we're going to mark the centers of each of the 2 beads. Starting on this one, we're going to again put the bevel up and ease the cutting edge into the material. And very gently lift and roll. We lift the handle and roll the tool over. The left hand is merely keeping it on the tool rest. All the action is coming from the right hand. Again, very light cuts. Always come back to a flat position. Once we have our beads formed, we can come back and start shaping the handle. Now typically, you'd use the center third of the tool to make these cuts, as we're doing here. But as we approach the bead, if we roll up and start cutting at the heel rather than in the center, we can avoid the heel contacting the bead and leaving a mark on it. These should be very light, consistent cuts so that you don't overrun the end. A lot of light cuts are a lot better than a few heavy cuts. Same in this direction, working up towards the heel. Once you have the handle shaped the way you want it, you can make half V's on either end to separate it from the beads. Now we're going to come over here to this long V and make a final cut, finish out the bottom of this bead, and then we're going to taper this end of the dibble. Again, we're going to make a whole series of light cuts using our body. We're increasing the pressure and rolling it down to get the tapered end of the dibble, which will go into the dirt. You want to use care not to cut over the end of it and cut into your drive center. Once we get our shape to where we want it, we're going to take a pair of calipers set at 1 inch, and we're going to mark 1 inch increments along the length of the garden dibble, always keeping the points down to avoid getting catches with them. Now we're going to make our V cuts so that we can see these marks. These are very light. Then we'll make one final pass over the entire working end of the dibble. And we'll take the point down a little bit more. Then I use the long point of the skew to cut through at the tailstock end, which will float in my hand while it's still being driven by the headstock. I separate the waste at the head and pare away the little remaining nub. You're ready to sand or just start planting bulbs. Now let me